Labour's inheritance tax on farms has outraged British farmers, sparking nationwide protests. In Westminster Hall, Conservative MP Robert Peter Moore didn't hold back, slamming Labour MPs and exposing harsh truths behind their policy. Watch this clip.
Mr. Chairman, and it is a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. So here we are again. As we speak, thousands of farmers are once again rallying outside the gates of this building. Over the past 6 months, our farmers have repeatedly been told by this Labour government that their way of life is expendable, that their hard work, their sacrifice, their future can simply be priced up and taken away. So is it any wonder why our farmers have shown up in such vast numbers again today? And make no mistake, Mr. Chairman, it is not just our farmers outside these gates. Across the country, more than 148,000 people have signed the petition because they know, just as we do on these sides, on these benches, that the family farm tax is wrong. It is vindictive and it must be scrapped now. So I use this opportunity whilst talking about the petition to thank the Honourable Member for South Norfolk for leading this petitions debate. But I have to say, Dr Murison, that I believe that he did a staunch disservice to those petitioners who put their faith in him to lead this debate by not actually forming any opinion based on the strong arguments that he absolutely communicated but didn't form an opinion. Just a mere spokesman, not using his opportunity in this debate to voice properly their concerns. And I must say, what an image for our farming community to take away from today's debate. Where on earth is the Secretary of State for DEFRA? We have the Shadow Secretary of State sat beside me. Where on earth is the Farming Minister? Absent. And what message does it send that the Labour Party have clearly filled the benches up on the other side of this House, but only 4 members of the Labour Party spoke in this debate, despite having an opportunity to voice their concerns in this petitions debate, which effectively is a 3-hour debate, of which, Mr Chairman, all 5 of them that spoke voted against scrapping the family farm tax when we brought the motion to the House last time. So this is probably one of the most important debates that we can have on this issue, but yet once again, those with responsibility for rural areas and our farmers are missing in action. Indeed, Mr Chairman, there is Labour members on the other side of the House that have turned up but not even contributed in this debate, yet representing such vast, large rural constituencies. So where is this government that claims to be on the side of rural Britain? Because if they had actually visited some of their farming communities, they would know just how damaging their choice is to implement the family farm tax is on our farming community. They may have had some of the devastating conversations that I, and indeed many on this side of the House, have had, including the Shadow Secretary of State, have had on this issue. And I would like to go through and share some of them. Mr Chairman, just last week I was in Northamptonshire and I met George. George has worked on his farm all of his life, and he is nearly in his 80s. And he, right now, unfortunately, is extremely ill. He knows, through his diagnosis, that he hasn't got long to live, but he isn't sure right now, as I speak, if he'll live beyond April 26. He knows that should he pass away before April 26, his IHT bill will be 0. But if he passes away after April 26, his tax bill to his family will be well over £1 million, a debt which his family simply cannot sustain. Now, Mr Chairman, taking his own life was an option which was put forward to me. Mr Chairman, these are horrific choices, unthinkable amounts of pressure for any individuals or families to be put under, never mind some of the most vulnerable in our society, and I will give way.
Who's giving a very powerful speech. It's true that George was given no notice, was he? No ability to plan for this absolute and important impact on his life and everything he's worked for. But isn't it worse than that? Because explicitly he relied on a promise not to do this and that makes it particularly unforgivable.
And I could not agree more. I will just answer this point before giving way. I cannot agree more with the point that has just been made by my right honourable friend, because what the electorate was sold was false promises in the run-up to the general election. They were specifically told that this Labour government would not change agricultural property relief, but that is exactly what they have done. So I will ask the Minister, how will he communicate with George? What does he tell George based on the promises that were given in the run-up to the general election? And will he acknowledge, for I can't believe how many times I have asked this, will the government commit to recording suicide statistics across the farming sector as we move closer to April 26? And if the Minister is so determined to carry on with his family farming death tax, will the Minister at least look at changing the abruptness of this tax's implementation to protect the most vulnerable in our farming community? It cannot just be right that this government is forcing people into these decisions to make.